How's it going, everybody? It is Dennis, and we're back with another video. And today we're going to be talking about dividend income, option income earned for the month of April. It is that time of the month. It is May 1st. I'm recording this video. The month has ended. April month has ended. So we have to go over how much dividends we have earned. Of course, I have it right here, right behind this. I had to check my computer real quick to see where it was. But yeah, right behind this, we have all the dividends that we have earned for the month of April. Let me go ahead and zoom out a little bit more so you guys have a better view over here on this side, so I'm not blocking it. So how much did we make for the month of April? We're gonna get straight into it. Of course, I love being transparent as possible. I have everything up on the screen so you guys could see all the transactions I did, all the dividends I received. Let's go ahead and get straight into it. So starting off in April, of course, OHI, no dividend. This is a quarterly paying dividend stock or ETF, so there's no dividend earned for April. Of course, there probably will be one for May. Now, for Stag, we earned $3.98. We're getting a consistent increase month over month. Of course, it's little by little, but it is adding up. Next up, we have Maine, which is a little bit lower than March, or actually a lot bit lower than March, but it is higher than the previous months. Of course, December we had a bonus, or it does seem like it's trading monthly or paying dividends monthly, but it pays higher quarterly. So that's very interesting. We'll keep an eye on it for the next coming months. But we got $5.10 for April when it comes from Maine when it comes to April. Moving on to, of course, Yieldmax ETFs, the big boys, the guys carrying my portfolio. For APLY, we got $45.91, lower than the $48.58 of last month. And that is, of course, with increase in shares, but it seems like APLY this month did perform a little bit less compared to March. With TSLY, another underperformer, we received $227.27 from TSLY, and that is, of course, once again, because Tesla, the underlying stock, has been dropping, and so the NAV price of TSLY has been dropping as well, and with that, the dividends earned as well. Of course, it is slowly rising back up. Tesla is rising, TSLY is rising, the dividends are rising, and we'll see how much the dividend payment are for May, which are being released actually this week, and actually Friday, the date of releasing this video. May 3rd, we will find out how much the dividends will be paid out for the Yieldmax ETFs like TSLY, AMZY, APLY, and so on. So $227.27 for April, not so shabby. Of course, diversified 50-50, 50 into TSLY and 50 into other ETFs. Now moving on to AMZY, a really good performer with NAV growth and as well as dividends. As you can see, we are getting consistent growth over month over month. So with April, we received $141.49. That is higher than $126.79 that we received for the previous month, and of course $135 and so on and so on. So AMZY continues to pay high dividends and as well has NAV or share price growth as well. We are at roughly $500 of profit so far on AMZY, so it's performing very well, and that is because of the underlying stock Amazon is performing very, very well. Now, of course, we skipped Coney because we have sold out of Coney. Not looking to enter back into Coney anytime soon, but that will be blank for now. So moving on to GOOY. GOOY, of course, once again, this is an ETF that I'm investing to. So the 50% that comes out of TSLY, some of that does go into GOOY. And GOOY paid $18.88. This is an increase because, of course, of share. I added more shares into GOOY, bought more shares in GOOY, so therefore the dividends have risen as well. So $18.88 for GOOY. Now, YMAX is a big one. YMAX is a big one for April. Of course, I have been loading up on this position, and due to YMAX paying a week after the regular funds of Yieldmax ETFs like TSLY, AMZY, and so on, I'm able to take the funds earned from the regular funds and put it into YMAX, and therefore increase my dividend payment every single month, right? Before the payment comes out, I put a little bit more in, and therefore I have a higher amount of dividends. But of course, $52.26 is how much I earned from YMAX, $52.26, a lot higher than $14.77 of the first month of owning YMAX in March. And of course, this is because I added a bunch of shares. I'm pretty sure I'm at 100 plus shares so far, and I'm continuing to add because this fund has been performing quite well. It tends to trend with the market when it comes to the upside and the downside, of course, but it does follow on the upside pretty well, and therefore if it continues to pay the 35 to 40% that it's been paying so far on the yearly annual basis, then that means if it trends on a monthly basis of 3% up every single month, it'll be paying the dividends that will be taken out from the NAV will be able to still be held up, and therefore the value of your shares will continue to stay higher or grow slightly by maybe 0.5% a month. And you'll continue to get your roughly 2.5 to maybe 3% dividends a month as well. So it's looking pretty good. This month it is a little bit down, but that's because the market has been a little bit troublesome, going up and down, left and right. I'm not sure what's going on at the moment. We're trying to figure out where we're going, if we're going down for another downtrend on the market or we're going up again. But we'll have to see. Of course, HTGC is didn't pay anything, quarterly ETF, so didn't pay anything. SPHD is the next runner-up, and that paid $3.96. That is higher than the $3.75 from previous months, and of course, it has been growing significantly. Then we have $11.67 from EFC. It is down from the previous months. Of course, it is up from the other months. But EFC bounces up and down here and there. The shares have fallen. My average share price is still the same, and the value of my shares have fallen, so that's a little bit sad, but what can you do? We're getting dividends anyway, so we're lowering our average cost, so it's not that bad. It's not that bad. Now, next up, DHS, another dividend-paying ETF, and this one paid us $14.12 for $13.37 from previous, $9.59 from previous, so it is growing. It is growing. DGRW did not pay. As you can see, they paid in the beginning half of the year, or not even before the first month of the year, and then they paid the last 2 of previous year, and after that they just did not pay. So maybe they're just adding it all into growth, not quite sure. SCHH, another quarterly paying dividend, did not pay out for April, so we are moving on. RITM, quarterly paying dividend, paid, and it paid well, $52.24, but it is lower than January at $53.03. But we'll still take the $52.24. Now with TSLL, no dividend paid for TSLL. Still not sure what this is. I don't know. Do they pay quarterly ETFs? If anybody could let me know. I'm not sure if they're paying quarterly dividends or not. But $47.29 was paid on March, and I'm not sure if we're getting that ever again. If somebody knows why TSL paid $47.29, let me know. But for the total of the month of April, we received $576.88. That is higher than February. Of course, it is lower than March, but March is a little bit skewed due to the $47.29 earned from TSLL. And of course, the Yieldmax ETFs did perform higher, and as well as skewed to HTGC, paying us the quarterly ETF as well. So we did have 2 quarterly ETFs that did pay that month, as well as Yieldmax performing a little bit better. But it's not that bad of a downside, roughly around, let's say, $40 down from the previous month. But we are trending upwards anyways. We are higher than February. We are lower than December, but we are still similar to November. So it does fluctuate, as you can see. Of course, in January, we did receive a lot. In January, we did have some high payments, as well as having Coney. That's the last month we had Coney. But it did trend downwards, and it is staying stable so far. But I don't mind the $576.88. And of course, these are the new dividends, but these are all the dividends I received for this month. Yep, so here we go. It starts in April. These are all the dividends I received and how much was reinvested and what wasn't reinvested. As I say, love being transparent as possible. But with that out of the way, let's go ahead and move on to option income. Now with option income, we have Riot, Mara's no longer a player, TSLL, and TNA. So with Riot, we did earn a little bit lower this month. As I mentioned before in the previous video last week, and you can check it out up here. This is my review of Tesla. I did mention that I have not taken any trades last week, and I had to take a late trade this week when the contract was about to expire. I had to take the trade because either the contract would expire and I'll have no trade going into this week of recording this video, and therefore no income for the month of April. So I took a trade. I took a trade at the end of last week, Friday, and I did earn a little bit less. We could go ahead and take a look at that. If we go down over to history, let's go to history. So we took a covered call roll for $522, and we took a covered or cash secured put roll for $268. If we look at the previous ones, before it was a $603 covered call roll, so you can see it's roughly $80 less. And also we took a cash secured put roll for $316. So our overall gains for these two contracts was lower. We did drop down by roughly $300 of value, and you can see that obviously here. It's actually a little bit less. It's roughly like almost $200 of value loss for this month. So we did underperform with Riot, and that is because Riot did lose a little bit of volatility, as well as the crypto market has slowed down and the crypto bull market has slowed down. Riot seems to be standing around the $10 mark, and they actually had a good financial report this month. Actually today, they beat expectations for EPS way higher than expected, and they did come out with a good financial report as well. They're holding a lot of Bitcoin, and therefore if the bull market continues to grow, and apparently it is in the coming month or two, then Riot will perform as well, and maybe I'll exit the position finally like I've been wanting to for a while, or maybe I might take another high yielding contract. We will have to see, of course, in the month of May. Mara, like I said, no trades for Mara when it comes to options. With TSLL, we continue to trade monthly options. Of course, they are not as high as the previous month, and that is because, like I said, I took a high yield play and took the risk of being assigned, and I did get assigned on my contract. So I took the $619, but now I am losing out on my monthly income, but it's fine. $108 earned for the month of April, and I don't mind it. Took some of that money, reinvested into other places, so it's all good. When it comes to TNA, this is a big player for my account, and this is where I want to move most of my option income funds into, the funds from my option income into. So if I'm able to exit my Riot position, I'll be probably moving it over to TNA, and that is because it is earning us a consistent amount of income. It is not fluctuating up and down. Of course, there is minimal fluctuations, like 135 in the month before, and then we had in March we had 106, and now in April we have 137. So there's a little bit of fluctuation. Of course, it's the market. You're never going to get the 100% earnings every single month like you got the previous months, but it is paying a consistent amount. It's above $100. The contracts are not getting assigned. The contracts are not, paying out low amounts or low income. So it's doing good. $137. We could look at the trades I took. Or is it TNA? We could go ahead and take a look at the trades. We look at the trades. I took a $49 one recently, $44, $30, and then we took a $14 in the beginning of April. So 14, 30, 44, and 49. Also, we didn't look over TSLL. Of course, I took a couple more trades for TSL today for June. I know it's a little bit too early, but I just wanted to take it since there was a spike in the market today. But see, for April, I took 55 and 53. And then that's a total of $108. So that is, like I said, a little bit disappointing. We made a little bit less dividend income. We made a little bit less of option income, but we still performed quite well. And for option income, we made $1,035. Of course, that is $100 lower than previous month, and that is also roughly $200 lower or $230 lower than the month before, and way lower than January. Because of course, January paid us $1,675, but that is because we did the TSLL trade, which was very risky, and we did get assigned. So, and of course, with the month before that, we got $213, which was another risky play, and we also got assigned. So these 2 months are a little bit skewed. I got assigned in the positions. There were risky plays, of course, and then Tesla started going down, and we had all those issues. But from there on, from the mistakes made, consistent income. It is $100 down, but like I said, Riot income was a little bit lower, and so was the dividend income because TSLY reached its bottom, or at least we think it is bottom. But not bad. Not bad. Now for total income, I think you guys can add this up yourself. But for total income, we made $1,611.88. Of course, as you can see, it is lower than previous months. Of course, it is higher than the month of November. I had to check that real quick. It is higher than the month of November, but overall, at least we're not in the negatives. Hey, we're not in the negatives. It is lower than previous months, but like I said, they are skewed to the higher amounts because we did take risky plays, and for risky plays, you make a lot of money, but you also have a chance of losing money. And like I said before in the previous video, we are losing money, I guess, on time, since we are wasting a lot of time of holding our value in these ETFs, or not in these ETFs, in these plays. So like holding a lot of our value in Riot and holding a lot of our value in TSLL. So we are losing time value. So we could be playing on TNA and receiving constant income and good income. But we're deciding to take a little bit more risky plays, and sometimes it turns out good where you make 1,056, and sometimes it turns out bad when you make 790, or when it turns out really bad and you make negative 1,387. But hopefully we don't do that again. Hopefully that doesn't happen again. But yeah, pretty good income. $1,611 is pretty good in my book. Let's go ahead and zoom in on that. So yeah, $1,611.88 earned for April is a good amount of money. What is my outlook for May? Well, of course, we've already done our TSL trades. We've made $25 and we made $65. So this puts us in what is that? That is $70 made? Yeah, $70. No, I'm stupid. $90, sorry. Math is a little bit slow today, but we made $90 for the month from TSLL, a little bit lower than before. And of course, I could always do another trade as well because this is for the middle of the month. This is for the middle of June, so I could always do another trade. And I don't know that maybe I'll count that as a May income, maybe I won't. But so we already have here $90 for TSLL. For TNA, I'm assuming we're going to stay around the same area of $100-ish. We're going to stay around like $100, $140 area for TNA, assuming where the market goes. For Riot, we're either going to sell out of the position. We will have to see. We're going to either sell out of the position or we're going to take another high trade. I think we'll maybe get back to the $900 mark, but we'll have to see, of course. For dividend, when it comes to dividends, I can't say much for the other ETFs. These are kind of like low ETFs, or like, just not really crazy ETFs, not crazy dividends. But when it comes to Yieldmax ETFs, APLY, I think will continue to pay around $40 and $50 mark for myself personally. For TSLY, I think they will pay a little bit higher this month, as well as, of course, I'm investing 50% back in, lowering my average cost and increasing the amount of shares. So it should pay higher. TSLY did also grow in share value and NAV value. So therefore, the dividends should have grown with it. So I don't think we will get another 227. I think we'll get a little bit higher. And of course, we're going to find out the day this video goes out. Hopefully you guys, you like the dividends that they announced. I don't know yet. But when this video comes out, then we will know. But $227.27, I think, is the lowest we're going to see TSLY go. I think, honestly, if Tesla continues to trend upwards as it is right now, I think TSLY will trend upwards with it, and so will the dividends. So I think this is the lowest we're going to go. I think May we're going to be around the 230, 240 mark when it comes to dividends. We're not going to be at 262 just yet. For AMZY, it's going to trend around the same as well, 120 to 140. And for YMAX, of course, it's going to increase. I'm increasing my shareholdings in it. So, of course, it's going to increase from the 52.26. I'm assuming it's going to be around the $70 mark. Of course, it depends on how many shares I have and how it performs. The share price has fallen on YMAX, and therefore the dividend will probably fall with it. But due to the share increase that I've been adding in myself, that means YMAX should either stay the same, even with the dividend decrease, or increase to maybe 60, 70 if they do continue to pay the same amount in dividend per share. For GOOY, probably going to stay the same. I've added shares as well to this, like I said, from TSLY and AMZY, adding 50-50 into GOOY, and as well as APLY. But GOOY is probably going to stay the same as well. Pretty low performance, but of course we had Google announced their finances in their report for this quarter, so maybe that added a little bit more volatility to it. But we'll have to see. I think $18, $15 is going to be a good mark for GOOY. But yeah, that is pretty much it. That is our total income for April. $1,611. Of course, I cannot complain. It's a little bit lower than I wanted it to. I wanted to continue and grow. Over time, I'm adding more shares, adding my own income I make outside of the market, adding it in. And of course, I want to see it grow in that exponential way, continue to grow and compound. But of course, there's going to be low months. There's going to be low quarters. There's going to be low years where you're not earning as much because the market just is not trading as much. So not bad. $1,611.88. It's not the $1,700 or $1,800 I would want it to, of course, with the growth. But I would take that $1,611.88 any day of the week or month or year. But pretty good month. I'll see you guys, of course, in the next video next week. And of course, I'm excited to see what Yieldmax ETFs will announce for the payments for the month of April. I want to see what TSLY does. with the increase of Tesla and the increase of share price for TSLY. Let's see what the dividend is. A lot of people saying that it's going to be low. I don't understand how they think it's going to be low. If the NAV increased and the share price increased, dividends is going to increase with it. Because if you take 50% of $16 or 50% of $18, that is an increase right there. So we'll have to see. We'll have to see. A lot of people are saying it's going to be lower. I'm not quite sure where they're getting that number, but we'll have to see what it is. And I'm assuming it's going to be higher. It's going to be higher than 227. It's going to be maybe 240. But we'll have to see. That's going to be probably next week's video. We're going to be going over our Yieldmax ETF income for this month, or for the new month of May, and seeing what our moves are for this new month. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Thank you everybody so much for watching. Thank you everybody so much for subscribing and liking. We are growing and growing and growing, and soon we're going to hit the 1,000 subscriber mark. So thanks so much everybody. I'll see you guys in the next video.